Okay guys, so this is not, I mean, I never used to be into this stuff. I think it's a fun thing to get into. I mean, fun, you should take things seriously. I mean, this piece of paper could be a battlefield or the next mathematical construct that rewrites physics as a whole. So, yeah, I mean, you're going to get in charge of a lot of things out there. So, we're going to do some things real quickly as we're prepping for a reading tonight at midnight. What's so interesting about midnight, firstly, and why midnight would be a good time to do this? Well, firstly, there's some things about your early entry into this. So firstly, I'm still learning, and so from learning, I think it's important to base this from a teaching perspective. Remember, here I'm talking to everything, not just one thing. And so as I begin this statement, let me begin by stating that somebody could jump in opinions at any point in time here. You know my video logs and stuff like that. That's how I operate. I'm looking for a tone, a frequency, an amplitude on a situation. Now those things will be important for later in the mathematics of some of this stuff, but
what up everyone, Martina here, and
I would like to begin with this statement in case for future references on the standards. I'm not going to use things like imp or cherub. Instead, we are going to use the term apprentice. Remember, from my position inside here, it's not going to matter any of those things. Lead, apprentice, basic, civilian. Yeah, I don't care about the ages, quantum time, back to midnight. Should hold a lot of abilities if apprentices are done somewhere. Most people are done with their day, not in somebody's ear in the stone mill, is a boss, plays off locally, this grimoire of whether I'm going to sound like a demon or a saint to you, or a master of an entropy. And sometimes it gets salty with the best of them, for the best of reasons. Now in here, those are a couple of contexts. You know, right now that's when I do my office hours. Will be at midnight, and again, I'm going to try to avoid the, you know, this is just an open forum for somebody to let the word get around. I don't know whether it'll channel in. I don't know if these are local things. I don't know if they're non-local to time and history. I don't know if they're relative to me, and I have to know those things. Hell, for all I know, it could be just some rabbit chase out there of proving something, you know, whatever. You're going to have to figure out which section that is in this situation. It in itself is still an area of operation. Confusion, how to make something useful to you, that tool, this process, this model of how to describe one thing. You know, we're destroying things. We're in the process of doing parts inside here, and
I'm sewing the pages to some twine or
some kids are going to have problems with lots of things. And again, area of operation isn't just a map. You know, we got to figure out that between me and whatever else is on this side, as much as me to determine how to do this so it'd be useful in some functional way, right? Now in there, again, I'm trying to design this from where I'm viewing it from is a design under the chaplain's position, right? That's probably the person I would want to do a thing like this. Why? Because I want the apprentice of whatever challenge to deal with this to potentially give me that. Now, if they don't have that ability, or they don't have something traveling through those things or whatever, things we'll have to build into this. We're binding those standards. We're saying the results in those forms were this, and then I can graph that later. I can go check information. I can do things that might be useful from that standpoint. Even if it's, hey, you were wrong about that. Should I deny that, or should I correct that? Now, for whatever reason, Lieutenant, you know, inside of there are times for the ARC or AACO briefings. It's like, here's the battlefield. You know, we're not here to discuss whether that bush is really there or not. We are understanding of that bush. Now, from here, this class lecture has to be described for that. And information will come in that way equally like it would go out that way. Some private comes out with the information. Even the lieutenant has to look at that situation like it's an area of operations, AO. Sometimes good, sometimes heavy, or at least heavier on the standards. You know, Sharps isn't just sexual harassment. Sharps is also, hey kid, you got some room to run on the entropy of that one. Sometimes you need to pull it out. You know what I mean? or pull out, or whatever, an energy calc on what that is. Now, we know the Nephilim, we know the stories on those things, we know values. Now, I wouldn't want to necessarily call something from here because, one, it's not really practical or useful, right? You know, I don't personally have a reason to communicate with, no offense to my grandfather, who passed away as a school. You know, I often carry those things with me with memories or marshmallows or situations and an AO of that model that's going to then change my trajectory on those things. So these kind of questions are not something that I'm commonly going to do from this angle, this Ingling's angle on what it does. Some brother, some sister that, you know, you can't get chained down with those names. Equally, like, we have to be careful with something like Bowser or Belial, or, you know, we don't know where the standpoints sit today, as much as how useful that could be from understandings a lieutenant in general. I mean, in mine, I'm going to say, well, lieutenants and the standards of models, but we're not about to negotiate this nor bind this situation to just do those things. Resumes say, well, Jordan, you were a stonemason. When we go through this, those things happen. Those are valence bonds between this binding on this, where you're going to get triggered. Equally, like, hey, I don't have time for you in the middle of the day. I'm going to spike off that EM rate and not hurry for you about what that is. So why not catch always the good interpretations? Because sometimes in this tone, you know, if I was challenging somebody on the interpretation of the information, maybe they get hot. Maybe that's happening in front of a council of things I can't understand. And let's be honest about the council here. You know, do you think it's one-on-one? Do you think it's a lieutenant that's every time he gets out that's going to go down to all the privates? You don't understand the quantum time here. These are things that we're going to have to figure out. You know, this is stuff that, in there, well, I'm doing a regular evaluation on some damn marshmallow, private first class, you know, we kind of got to go through what do you know, what do you don't know, what do you do, and I would expect somebody to do that to me. You know, it's an apprentice thing. It's, I don't mind masters, you know, they're running around the stone mill doing their thing. I became one without having to worry about anything, and I don't hail from the Mason's Lodge. But I would imagine, contextually, some of these things might be real handy. What is it, a book? What kind of book, this one?
And on top of this layer. I'll just leave that for a few hours and grab some
last time we left off when a name come up here, and we were in that thing. You know, consistency is important.
When I got back, the glue had dried completely.
You know that those numbers
the cover boards.
Would be more beneficial in that form while doing this. And of course, your training practice, being respectful to those ideas. You know, past is past. Sharp's Guide tell you after you've been smoked and run your pushes and things like that. The Marine lunch line, if you know my models on it, are a test in their own right. You know, for us as a Sharp's team, you would look at that and say that soldier right there, the gunnery or whatever, is going to have bad energy on the field if he can't handle that with civilians, just as being civilians. Heard one name about them or a thing about them, and that's all it took to physically ruin the ability forever for them to, without force or fear, for them to do it, because eventually it'll turn on them. Whenever the first time they get that chance, they're gone. They don't care, they don't work, or they don't understand that the differential between those points is basically what they'd have to do, especially from one of those high-ranking standards inside of there. You know, maybe you're not informationally sensitive enough to be able to handle timelines like that, to leave when I ask you to sensibly kind of understand somebody's desk while they're grinding out like that. I have other things to do. I'm not fingering Gunny's wife and doing all this other stuff. Right now, you're going to have to take this. So we're going to have to do things that correlate those time frames. And unfortunately, if I do wind up at somebody's desk at midnight, I don't mean to be, I didn't make a choice of a name, that's where it went. I don't like always sitting here, but sometimes the girlfriend, the dog, the parent, there is no chronological timeline to those things to why you should think about them. And hopefully this is useful for the understanding across the board, because we can't have scary movie guys going out there if somebody's going to try to do this without those kinds of functionable models they got out there. Did you see that thing? Did you see that thing? Yeah, I did. I'm not going to say you should be in that situation. That might be something different. At least at your purpose, you can do a recon before something else went in there to actively Scooby-Doo whatever the hell had happened in there. Because let's think about it for a moment, shall we? Let's think about it from your end of the standards of it. I doubt it was a high-ranking lieutenant out there in some shithole.
It's a lot thinner,
That's...
about 0.3 or 0.5 millimeter thick
What else are we dealing with
black dyed
here?
leathers.